Welcome to Module 4 Loops in JavaScript. So in this module we will learn what is loop, what are the elements in loop, what are the types of loops supported in JavaScript. Let's have a look. So what is loop? Many times you need to perform same task again and again with a different set of values. You can do it manually, but it will consume lots of time and it's not manageable in future. The smart way to do this repetitive task is through loop. Loop helps you to execute same line of codes for multiple values for n number of times. So what are the elements in loop? Now you understood loop is used to perform same action again and again. So there should be a counter to count loop iteration, and there should be a condition until the loop gets executed. Apart from that, there should be an increment or decrement for this counter. If you miss this statement, then your loop will never end and this will crash your browser. So remember, there should be a counter, a condition and a increment or decrement of that counter. If you forget to mention your increment and decrement of that counter, then your condition will remain always true and your loop will get executed for infinite of times, and end of the day your browser will crash. Example: to display hello world message 5 times, you need a counter which should start from 1. For example, you can start it from anywhere. We will start it from 1. Display hello world message until the counter is less than or equal to 5. Increase the counter value and jump to above statement again. So this will create a loop. Display the hello message until the counter is less than or equal to 5. Then increase the counter value and jump to above statement. So until the counter becomes greater than 5, this loop will execute and will display hello world message. So what types of loops are supported in JavaScript? So JavaScript supports for loop. This loops through a block of code a number of times. While loop. While loops through a block of code while a specified condition is true. And a do while loop also loops through a block of code while a specified condition is true. So we will look at for loop first. So for loop has the following syntax: the keyword for followed by a parenthesis, and we have to write 3 statements there: statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. Each will be separated by semicolon. Then in curly braces we can write our code which we need to execute in loop or multiple times. So here statement 1 is executed once before execution of the code block. It is the counter initialization. Statement 2 defines a condition to execute the code block. And the statement 3 is the increment or decrement counter, executes every time. In this syntax, statement 1 and statement 3, that is counter initialization and counter increment or decrement statements, are optional. Statement 2, that is loop condition, is only mandatory. Example: for semicolon condition semicolon and body of that loop. This is a valid statement in JavaScript. Let's have a look. So we will try using for loop in this program. So for loop, inside the script we will start our program and we will try to display hello world for 5 times. Let me start with the for loop where we will initialize our variable or counter let I equals to 0, and our condition would be I is less than equals to 5 and then I plus plus. So I plus plus will execute every time. It will increase the value of I and verify it into condition. If it remains less than 5, then it will execute this block. So inside block I am writing document.write hello world. So this block will execute for 5 times, and when our I becomes higher than 5, that time our block will stop executing and our loop will terminate that point of time. Let's save it, start it. So now we are getting hello world for multiple times, but we are getting this hello world 6 times. Okay, so what we done here, we had started from 0 and we are checking less than equals to 5, so it will execute 6 times from 0 to 5. So we have to change it to 1, and now it is showing us this for 5 times. Let me add value of I as well, so we will be more clear that how many times it is displaying, and refresh. So now we are getting 1 hello world, 2 hello world, so we are getting 5 times. Now you can change values from 1 to 15, 1 to 5 to any values like 11 to 15, or you can say 100 to 104, anything you can use. Say I'm trying to reverse this loop. I equals to 15 and should greater than equals to 11, and if you are using negative loop, then you have to use decrement instead of increment. So I'm using I minus, and see it is working for 5 times only. So sometimes you may need a increment loop, sometimes you may need a decrement loop, so you can use loops in this way. You can also use I equals to I minus 1. In this program we will look into all even or odd numbers from 1 to 10. So here I am using a loop and starting from 1 and going less than equals to 10, incrementing it, and we are verifying it using n modulus 2. So wherever we are getting 0 remainder, it will display as even, and for non-zero remainder it will display odd, like this. So we can see 1 is odd number, 2 is even number, 3 is odd number, and all this information is coming. So another assignment for you, try to find out if any input number is a prime number or not. Prime number is a number which can be divisible by either 1 or themselves only. Hint, you need to use modulus operator and a loop. Happy coding. While loop. The while loop executed the block of statements as long as the condition is satisfied or condition is true. It accepts only one statement, that is condition of that loop. Like in for loop, it was accepting 3 statements: initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. But in while loop, it accepts only one statement, which is your condition. So syntax of while loop is while, and in parentheses you have to provide your condition, and then in curly braces you have to write your code blocks to be executed. So initialization and increment or decrement of counter is not optional, whereas you can initialize that counter prior to while loop, and you can increment or decrement the counter within the body of that while loop. Let's have a look. Now we will see this similar program using while loop. So I am copying the basic structure of our program, and in title I will write a while loop. For any loop we need 3 things: a counter, a condition, and increment or decrement. So let's define a counter. Let counter equals to 1, and in while accept only one statement, which is condition. So I am using condition counter is less than 5, less than or equal to 5. If counter is less than or equal to 5, it should display the counter value. So I am using counter plus dot and hello world, so that we should get the number and the message itself. Jump on browser and let's see what is going to happen. My browser got hung because we had skipped the increment or decrement statement for that loop. So now I need to close this browser using task manager, and in this program I need to add this counter plus plus statement either inline with the document.write, or you can use another statement after document.write. So now we can see it is displaying hello world for 5 times, like similar to the for loop. So these 3 statements are mandatory for every loop: initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. So assignment time, guys. So practice any loop program using do while loop, and similar any program using while loop. If you have done something in for loop, you can try the same program using while loop and try same program using do while loop as well. So in do while loop you have to use do, the block of your code, and condition will go below while condition. If you are facing any challenges, please comment and I will surely help you on that. Do while loop. The do while loop execute the block of statements at least once before checking for the condition, and then it will repeat as long as the condition is satisfied or true. It accepts only one statement, that is condition of that loop, similar to the while loop. So this is the syntax of the do while loop. Here we are saying do some task, means we need to execute this code block, and then we are checking while this condition made. So we are checking for condition after execution of this block. That's why it said do while block execute the statement at least once. So because of this, it executes the statements at least once. After execution of that block, it will verify for the condition, and if the condition is true, then it will again go there and execute that block. So we come to end of module 4. Here we have learned what is loop, what are the elements in the loop, and types of loop in JavaScript. So thank you very much for watching this module. I am waiting for you on next module. Join me there. Thanks.